There are some things in life you wouldn't think would go together, like sweet and salted popcorn. It's the same in games, where there are some series, franchises or characters you'd never imagine working well together, but when that crossover happens, somehow those games turn out to be surprisingly good. I mean, considering they often don't make a lick of sense, that is. Wait, what's Jigglypuff doing in feudal Japan? Here are the gaming crossovers that had no right to turn out as well as they did, like cheese and pineapple or chocolate and peanut butter. I think I might be hungry. On the way, beware spoilers for the following.
Wow, look, it's really London. Come on, Nick, take a look.
I know you're excited, Maya, but can a guy get a few last Z's in?
This is no time to be sleeping. You won't win in an English court of law with that attitude.
Ace lawyer Phoenix Wright is no stranger to odd cases. Let's not forget this is the same attorney who put a parrot on the witness stand.
Hold it!
She may be a parrot, but she sang like a canary. But that has nothing on the time Phoenix and his pal Maya found themselves in a crossover game with Professor of Archaeology Herschel Layton, best known for his Brain Teaser series in which he solves seemingly impossible puzzles, like how to successfully pair an orange jumper with a top hat.
Do you see?
Layton's games involve solving charming riddles or logic puzzles in cartoonish steampunk settings, with the occasional interjection from your becardiganed assistant Luke.
This is my answer. As you'd expect from a gentleman in training.
I.e., the total opposite of a day in court trying to spare your client the death penalty. And this massive difference in pastimes is probably the main reason that Professor Layton vs Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney should never have worked. I mean, apart from the fact that Layton's face is just a rectangle with eyes. Why is Phoenix not freaking out when he looks at that? Amazingly though, this game for the 3DS turns out to be better than it has any right to be, finding a middle ground between the two series in terms of both the art style and the story, which begins in London before hurtling off to the medieval town of Labyrinthia.
Wow, Professor, this is amazing.
While Layton and Luke solve puzzles all day, Phoenix has a whimsical time of his own, defending residents accused of witchcraft.
I will now pronounce the verdict. This court finds the accused guilty of being a witch.
No, I'm not a witch! Please, I beg you to reconsider! I'm not...
Witches are to be cast straight into the hellfire!
What?
No!
I mean, whimsical-ish? As the two group stories get tangled up, the result is a mystery-solving adventure with a gang of heroes that start to make a weird amount of sense together.
Objection.
And the game even has new courtroom quirks that you don't get in any of the other Ace Attorney games, like the way you end up interrogating multiple witnesses as a rabbling mob. Phoenix Wright and Professor Layton really shouldn't go together, but like chocolate and pretzels, I just can't stop eating them. What was my point? Oh yeah, these things are delicious. Thanks for watching.
Two great heroes competing for the first time in the same arena at the greatest sporting event on Earth.
People talk of console wars today, but the fight between PlayStation and Xbox seems like a friendly game of chess compared to the terrible console wars of the 90s. Back in the day, it was Sega and Nintendo who were facing off against one another in the battle to be almighty overlord of the games industry. With Mario as Nintendo's main mascot, Sega held an internal competition for a rival, and in 1991 they came up with Sonic the Hedgehog, a blue woodland creature who could run really fast. Come on, it's not as weird as Gex. Sonic quickly became a fierce competitor to Mario, but little did we know at the time that they'd be slightly friendlier competitors over a decade later in 2007's Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. After Sega hit some trouble, they moved away from the console market, focusing instead on software, making games for all sorts of platforms, including Nintendo. Sega Sports Japan decided to get Mario involved on one of these projects, creating a fun Nintendo and Sega-infused tie-in for the Beijing Summer Games. Encompassing characters from both series, it allowed both Sonic and Mario fans to try their hand at some fun sports on the Wii. And it worked, with Mario and Sonic Olympic Games appearing every 4 years and always officially licensed by the International Olympic Committee. Now the only lines drawn in the sand between Nintendo and Sega fans are in the long jump pit. However, it does open up the opportunity for Mario to beat Sonic in a sprint, which just wouldn't happen.
I don't think you need to worry too much about it, Mike.
But the point of Sonic is that he's got to go fast.
I know, but it's just a game.
It's a what?
Go forth, Sora, Donald, and Goofy. Everyone is waiting.
A key that opens the hearts of entire worlds and allows one to obtain anything and everything.
Let us go back to the dark days of 2002, a time when someone thought it would be a good idea to make a Britney Spears film called Crossroads. However, during the same year, we saw the birth of a surprisingly successful crossover franchise in Japan. Square Enix, then just called Square, has long been home to all the characters with the pointiest outfits ever, aka a cosplayer's ultimate challenge. However, in 2002, they decided to work with the softer characters found in the Disney universe, crossing them over with fan favourite series Final Fantasy to create Kingdom Hearts. Set in a universe filled with different Disney worlds, Kingdom Hearts centres around giant-shoed protagonist Sora as he travels around the kingdom in search of his friends. Fighting off the Heartless with his Keyblade, he meets characters from a boatload of different Disney worlds along the way, with our favourite being Nightmare Before Christmas.
And now, allow me to introduce the Master of Terror, the King of Nightmares, Jack Skellington!
What can we say? It's our aesthetic. With multiple Kingdom Hearts spin-offs following other characters from the games, it's proven to be a very successful series, despite the fact that it's a serious RPG that prominently features Goofy. In fact, right now fans are desperately clamouring for the third instalment in the main series, that features new worlds, bad guys, and mind-blowing combos. I don't get it though, like, exploring Disney-themed worlds as a Final Fantasy-looking character while pulling off super cool, badass moves. I don't get the appeal. Anyway, I'm just gonna go get my Keyblade. I mean keys. I said keys. Shut up.
Doctor Strange!
A well-designed fighting game is like walking a tightrope because it requires balance, and it's easier with a big stick. See? But how exactly are you supposed to balance the worlds of Street Fighter, which features admittedly tough and frequently supernatural brawlers, against a dude who literally controls all metal?
Magnetic shockwave!
It would seem like an impossible task, so imagine the world's surprise when 1996's X-Men vs Street Fighter turned out to be an entertaining blast through Marvel's roster of mutants, most notable for its crazed visual flair and tag team combat. And for answering the age-old question, who would win in a fight between Wolverine and Sabretooth in a shopping centre if they were both distracted by a man in a bunny suit? Everyone else can see that, right? Clearly emboldened, it wasn't long before Capcom added more of their characters to the series, including Mega Man and his robot dog Rush, as if that's a thing that makes sense to happen. And while this crossover series has been inconsistent, it deserves a round of applause for building a world in which it's not ridiculous to ask how Thor and Arthur from Ghouls and Ghosts would get on as a tag team.
Sir Arthur! Not bad, for one so small.
And you, Thor, are indeed mighty. or a heathen god.
I mean, if they were distracted by a man in a bunny suit. What, you didn't see it that time? I really need to lie down.
Nobunaga's Ambition is a long-running series of strategy games. Set in the Sengoku era of feudal Japan, the Nobunaga games are all about conquering the nation and becoming the most powerful warlord in the land, through careful handling of both military and domestic resources. And someone saw this and thought, yes, but hear me out guys, what if Pikachu was also there? Enter Pokemon Conquest, a crossover between Nobunaga's Ambition and the adorable beast-collecting franchise we're all familiar with. In this strategy RPG, you play a young, warlord who, along with their best pal Eevee and their friend Oichi, aims to conquer all 17 kingdoms of Ransei to summon the legendary Pokemon who created the region in the first place. In this surreal crossover, victory is achieved with top-down battles against rival warlords, in which positioning your Pokemon is just as important as the attacks they dole out. While mastery of environmental features is crucial as well, if, like Jigglypuff and its masters, you want to crush every kingdom in your path under the wheel of your war machine. Nice one, Jigglypuff. Now, Charizard, if you can burn the city's harbour, that should strangle trade. If the fact that there's a Pokemon game in which you can warlord your way to total domination comes as a surprise, you might be even more shocked to learn that this most incongruous of crossovers is actually pretty good. The game's conquest mechanics are quite deep, meshing the Nobunaga strategy elements with Pokemon's type-based combat in a way that makes more sense than it should. Not to mention, there are lots of flashy outfits to feast your eyes on, and adorable Pokemon sprites knocking 7 bells out of each other. Nice one, Eevee. Now tell Bulbasaur to use Poison Seed on the next town's water supply. I want that siege broken.
Despite his cheerful disposition, Mario is no stranger to his animalistic side. More specifically, his Tanuki suit, which not only gives him special abilities, but adorable little ears. Ah! However, not every ear-wearing Mario is as innocent. For instance, there's Rabbid Mario, as found in the recent Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. After Rabbids appear in an apparently alternate universe travelling washing machine and a Mario fan scientist's VR headset goes awry, the worlds of Rabbids and Mario combine. Don't worry, we have no idea what any of that means either. But against all odds, this actually creates a rather brilliant crossover. It's up to Mario to separate the two worlds, playing turn-based battles in the style of strategy series XCOM of all things, dealing with many messed up Rabbids and crossover bosses, with our particular favourite being Rabbid Kong. To do so, he must team up with the good Rabbids, of whom selfie-taking Peach is most definitely the best. I want to be her friend, even though I know that she'll never think that I'm cool enough. It's pretty adorable running around the Mushroom Kingdom with your floppy-eared friends and seeing what chaos the Rabbids have created. There's all sorts, such as Goombas in trouble, or Rabbids just generally being silly and having a fun time. Finally, amongst all this sightseeing, he must find his friends to help grow his team with, such as his suddenly badass brother, Luigi. Don't mess with Sniper Luigi.
Battletoads dates back to a glorious time in pop culture history where we could not get enough of amphibians for some reason. Developed in response to the popularity of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Battletoads series became popular in its own right for its blend of action and attitude as the Toads battled aliens on a strange planet. As such, it earned an exciting crossover game with another popular beat-em-up series, Double Dragon, which told the tale of brothers Billy and Jimmy Lee on the mean streets of New York, fighting tough guys to save Billy's kidnapped girlfriend. You might wonder how Billy and Jimmy got caught up with a gang of muscular toads that live in space, but what you've done there is you've thought about it too much. Less thinking, more toads. That's the 90s way. I mean, do Billy and Jimmy think too hard about it when Professor T-Bird asked them to join the Battletoads in a preemptive strike on the Dark Queen spaceship? No, they simply tell this rambling space chicken to pick them up from the roof. And so begins an epic punch-up in space that is actually a properly good fighting game, and notably, the very first Battletoads game in which all three of the Toads were playable characters. Which makes sense actually, because you'd need more Toads because they must be the only ones who can breathe in space and... Oh, damn it, I'm thinking again! Come on, brain.
So there are some of the video game crossovers that actually work pretty well. Can you think of any others? Let us know in the comments down below. Give us a thumbs up if you like the video. And do take the time to go and check out one of these videos. One of them will be over on Outside Xbox, who we do lots of crossovers with, and they work out very nicely. And also hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed it.
My pretzels?
But no.
Ellen, have you seen where my pretzels went?
No.
Mike must have taken them. Mike!